Hi everybody and welcome to another video. In this video today I'm going to introduce you to granny squares or the granny stitch. As you can see behind me I have a lovely blanket made by my sister, and she used the granny stitch in a rectangle. Okay, and you can see there the colours are just blending into one another. It's absolutely gorgeous. She actually used odds and ends of wool that I gave her, and she really put them together very well. And also beside the blanket there you can see a cushion that I made, and that's in the granny square. The granny stitch is made up of little clusters, as you can see, of 3 treble crochet stitches worked together in the same place. It's a very easy stitch to make, but it's a very effective stitch. So as you can see there, we have the rectangle and we also have the square. You can also make it into a triangle as well. Okay, that's a nice triangle neck scarf, nice chunky one for the winter time. Thankfully we don't need it today. And you can also use the granny stitch in a circle, and you can also do corner to corner in the granny stitch. This is a corner to corner, and if I bring it closer you might be able to see that it's actually worked on the diagonal. The stitches are going diagonally across because you start in a corner down here and you work in rows going back and forth this way. Okay, so you know what's coming. If you're all ready, grab a hook, grab some yarn, most importantly grab a cuppa, and let's get started. So here's just 2 more examples of the granny square. This example I used a multicoloured yarn. As you can see, multicoloured yarns really work very well with the granny stitch. Okay, and this is one worked in just a plain colour, and it can be very effective in both. So I'll just give you a breakdown of the structure of the granny square. We start in the middle with a chain. Then we start building our blocks or our little clusters around that chain. We also need to make our corners. So each cluster in the beginning is a side of your square, and then our chains make up our corners. And then we just continue on in that way, and we're increasing in the corners as we go along. It makes more sense once we get started. The way I make the granny square, there's a few different ways of doing it, but the way I make the granny square is I always make sure I start in a corner. We will finish probably around here on each row, but we slip stitch across these stitches here and we start off in our corner again. So let's get started. So first of all you need to make your chain, and you can make a chain of 5. Now please note, your granny stitch you can use any kind of yarn, thick, thin, Aran weight, chunky, whatever you want. It'll still be the same. You're working 3 treble crochet stitches into the space. Okay, so depending on the type of yarn that you're using, please make sure you're using the correct size hook. So I'm using double knitting yarn and I'm using a 4mm hook, and that's normally what you would use for double knitting yarn. Okay, so we're going to make our chains. Okay, so we're going to make 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then we're going to slip stitch into the first chain that we made. Okay, So we slip stitch into our first chain, and your slip stitch is just into the chain and pull through the 2 on the hook. Now we formed a little circle, and this here is the center of our circle, and this is where we're going to be working our treble crochet stitches into on the first round. Okay, keep your tail end away so that you don't get it caught up with your working yarn. So from here now we're going to make a chain of 3, and that 3 chain is acting as your first treble crochet stitch. Please also note that I use UK terms only. If you are using American terms, that's your first chain will act as a double crochet stitch. From here then we're going to work 2 treble crochet stitches into this circle. Be very careful you don't go into this loose chain here. You want to go into this circle. So our treble crochet stitches, yarn around your hook, into the circle, wrap your yarn around your hook and pull it through, wrap your yarn around again and pull it through 2, wrap your yarn around again and pull it through 2. And that's your first treble crochet done. As I said, you need to do 2, so we make another one. Wrap your yarn around your hook into the center of the circle, wrap your yarn and pull it up, wrap your yarn around again and pull it through 2, wrap your yarn around again and pull it through 2. And that's your first cluster or your first side of your granny square. So now we have to make a corner, and for my example I use 2 chain to make the corner. So literally you just chain 2. You're now going to make another cluster into your center again, and your clusters are made up of 3 treble crochet stitches. So wrap your yarn around your hook into the center, wrap your yarn and pull up, wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2, wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2. That's your first treble crochet stitch of your cluster. Wrap your yarn around again into your center, wrap your yarn and pull it up, wrap your yarn around again, pull through 2, wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2. And that's your second one, and a third one. Wrap your yarn around and into your center, pull up your stitch, wrap your yarn around again, pull through 2, wrap your yarn around again and pull through 2. And that is your second cluster worked. So now you have to make another corner, and your corners are made up of 2 chain. Very simple, 2 chain only. So then turn your work again and you're going to work on the next side, and you're going to make your cluster of 3 treble crochet stitches. That's 1, that's 2, and that is 3. So far we have worked 1, 2, 3 clusters, and we've worked 2 corners. So we work a third corner, work 2 chain, and now we're going to make our last side. So wrap your yarn around, that's 1 treble crochet, that's 2 treble crochet stitches, and that's our third treble crochet stitch worked. And don't forget, a square has 4 corners, so we have 1 corner, 2 corners, 3 corners. We need to make another corner up here. So your corner is just 2 chain. So now you want to join to this treble crochet stitch here, or this chain that we worked at the beginning. And you're going to join into the third chain. So 1, 2, 3, this is our third chain. And you're going to just do a slip stitch, pull it through, and pull it through. And now you should have something like that. Okay, you can see the way the chains are making the corners into kind of little right angles. So it's 3 treble crochets into each cluster. So from here now, we're going to slip stitch into this stitch, into this stitch, and into this corner. And from there, we will start the next round. So you're going to slip stitch into this stitch. Okay. Just grab your yarn and pull it through. You're not making stitches, so you're not going to have any height on your slip stitches. You're going to slip stitch into this stitch. And you do this at the end of every single round. You're going to slip stitch into the corner. So now we are ready to start the next round. And every round is going to be started the same. We need to make 3 chain, 2 treble, 2 chain, and 3 treble, all into our corner here. So we make 3 chain, so 1, 2, 3 chain. We're going to make 2 treble, and that's our first cluster made. 1, 2. Your 3 chain at the beginning acts as your first treble crochet stitch. So that's our first cluster made. Now we are here working into our corner. So our corners are made up of 2 chain. But we need to put another cluster beside this cluster here. So we go back into this space here with 3 treble crochet stitches. You're going to have a funny shape when you do this, but it will be correct. Don't panic. So now you should have something like that. Okay, so this is our 3 chain that we worked and our 2 treble. We worked our 2 chain for our corner and we worked our 3 treble crochet stitches over here. Okay, so it's a funny looking shape at the minute. So now we're going to repeat that over here into our next space or our next corner. So we're going to work 3 treble crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3 treble crochet stitches. Then we're going to work 2 chain for our corner, and then we're going to work another 3 treble crochet stitches into this corner here. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. And now you should have something like this. Okay. To me it looks like it's a little teddy bear with his ears. Okay. And now we're going to go over to the next corner. And we're going to do exactly the same again. So it's 3 treble crochet stitches. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. 2 chain. And 3 treble crochet stitches into the same space. Do not go into this stitch. Okay, this is the stitch for this treble crochet here. We don't work into any stitches when we are working our granny squares or our granny triangles or our granny rectangles. We just go into the spaces. The only time you go into the stitches is when you're slip stitching across to the corner or you're finishing off the round, but we do not work into any of the stitches below. So now you have 1 corner, 2 corners and 3 corners. So we have to finish off working into this corner here, and again 3 trebles, some people do put chains between their clusters. I don't. Ooh, glasses. I don't. I prefer to not put any chains. It just gives it a little bit of a tighter, less of a lacy kind of look. That's the first cluster. Then I have to work 2 chain, and then I work 3 trebles again. One. Okay, I think I'm going to have to chase that wasp out again. That's the 3rd one in this shed with me. Okay, so Mr. Wasp is gone. Okay, so now we have completed the round. So to finish it off, we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning 3 chain. So slip stitch is just pull through and pull through your loop on your hook. And there you have another round finished. So again, we're going to slip stitch across these 2 stitches here, and then we're going to slip stitch into our corner. Okay, so slip stitch underneath the stitch, pull through your yarn and pull through, and then into your corner, and then you're ready to start off on your 3rd round. Okay, so the 3rd round then, again exactly the same as we started the last one. It's 3 chain. We're going to work 2 treble crochet stitches, and that will be our first cluster done. Then we work 2 chain for our corner, and then we work 3 treble crochet stitches again, all into the same place. One, 2, 3. Okay, so again, that's our first corner worked. Now we're going to place another cluster in this space here. Now again, it's just into the space, not into any of the stitches, just into the space. And it's just 3 treble crochet stitches. Oops. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go into our corner, and in the corner again it's 3 treble crochet stitches, 2 chain and 3 treble crochet stitches. Okay, so it's 1, 2, that's our first cluster. We need to work 2 chain for our corner, and then we need to work another cluster. So 1, 2, and our last one, number 3. So then we're going to go to this space here, and we're going to work another cluster into this. So now we work 3 treble crochet stitches, 1. So all you really need to know for this pattern is your treble crochet stitch, your chain and your slip knot. It's very straightforward, nothing at all difficult. It's just literally you need to make sure you're doing your 2 clusters with your 2 chains in each corner. And over here we go again. So 3 treble crochet stitches, okay, that's your cluster done. But remember you're in a corner, you're in a corner, so you need to work your 2 chain for your corner. One, 2, and 3, and that's your second cluster, and your corner worked. Okay, and you can see the way the chains bend around to make your corner. So now we're going to work into this space here, and we're just going to make 3 treble crochet stitches into here. So that's that cluster made, and then we're going to pop over to our corner here, and again 3 treble crochet stitches, and 2 chain and 3 treble crochet stitches. And we have one more space here to work on this side. So again it's 3 treble crochet stitches into this space. And then we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, pull through to finish off our round. And now we have worked 1, 2, 3 rounds And as you can see, it's growing automatically basically. We're not putting too much thought into where we're increasing. We're only increasing at the corners. Okay, so on our next round we will slip stitch across to our corner. We'll work our corner, and this time we have 2 extra spaces to work into on each side. Okay, 1 and 2. So I'm going to do that round, and I think after that, I think you will know yourself where you're going with it. So again, to start off the round, we need to slip stitch across. And slip stitch into your corner. And from there then you're going to do your 3 chain. And 2 treble crochet stitches beside your chain. 1 and 2. Then we're going to work our corner, just 2 chain, and then we're going to work 3 treble crochet stitches into that space. So now we have this space to work into and this space to work into on this side. So do remember, we don't work across these stitches, we're working into the spaces. That's one, and then we're going to work into this one here. Wrap your yarn around your hook, pull up, wrap your yarn around and pull through 2, wrap your yarn around and pull through the 2 on your hook. That's 1 treble crochet stitch, wrap your yarn around, pull through, wrap your yarn around, pull through 2, wrap your yarn around and pull through 2. That's 2 treble crochet stitches worked. And wrap your yarn around and pull up, wrap your yarn around and pull through 2, wrap your yarn around and pull through 2. So that's the second space worked. Now we're going to go into our corner. Wrap your yarn around into the corner. So we work our 3 treble crochet stitches. Okay. Wrap your yarn around and pull up. After our first cluster, we always work 2 chain, and you're working in the corners. This wool does not want to stay on my hook today, I don't know why. So I've worked 1 chain and 2 chains, and into the space again. Yarn around and work 3 treble crochet stitches into the space. Okay, and again we have 2 more spaces here, and into those spaces we have to work 3 treble crochet stitches. That's 1 space worked. Now we're going to go to the next one. and that's the second space worked. And again we're over to our corner, so we're going to work 3 treble crochet stitches. We're going to work 2 chain, and then we're going to work 3 treble crochet stitches again, all into our corner. That's my 2 chain, and then 3 treble crochet stitches. So then I have to work these 2 spaces, and again it's 3 treble crochet stitches into the spaces. That's number 1. This is number 2, and this is number 3. So that's that space worked. Now we're going to jump over here to this space, and again 3 treble crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're over to our corner again, and into the corner 3 treble crochets, 2 chain, and 3 treble crochets. Yes, that's Mr. Waspy, or Mr. B is back again. Maybe he wants to learn to crochet too. So 2 chain and 3 treble crochet stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And again you can see we have 2 spaces here now we have to work. So 3 treble crochet stitches go into each of these spaces, and on your next round you'll have 3 spaces to work into. That's 1 space worked, and this is the second space. That's the second space worked. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain to finish off the round. So now your square should be looking like this. Okay, so we have worked 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. So as you can see, you're going to slip stitch across your 2 treble crochet stitches, and you're going to slip stitch into the corner here, and into your corners you're going to work 3 treble crochet stitches, 2 chain, and 3 treble crochet stitches. When you turn your work, you can see now you have 3 spaces to work into, and into those spaces you just work 3 treble crochet stitches. Then you're into another corner, then you're into another side, another corner, another side, another corner, and another side, and that would be your 5th round finished. And continue that way until you make it as big as you like. It can be a nice cozy, cup cozy. It can be a blanket it can be, as I have made, a cushion cover. Basically, whatever you want, this stitch can be used for lots and lots and lots of things. So everybody, that's your introduction to the granny square or the granny stitch. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and happy crocheting.